Hello and welcome, my fellas. And I'm just here to quickly announce that this fight card, this was my night. This really was my night, and there is no place in the world I'd rather be than this fight card. I really made a great call, and 14 out of 15. So, fellas, it really was one of the best nights I've ever had. Eager to say that my picks are pretty much on point when you consider like some things and picks 14 out of 15, that's 5 out of 5. Yeah, believe it or not, it was my night, fellas, and I'm gonna start right at the beginning, but what can I say? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I won big yesterday, and it was a really nice place to be. I really enjoyed every second of it, and yeah, that is true. That is true. I enjoyed every second of it. It was a great fight card. Let's bring it on. Believe it or not, I only missed the first fight of the night. Yeah, and the first fight of the night, Veronica Hardy versus Juliana Miller. I picked Hardy to win. Sorry, I picked Juliana Miller to win. That was one mind only miss. And also, we've seen on the end of Jai Herbert versus Ludovic Klein, we've seen a draw, and I had over 1.5, so it was a good call by me. I was a bit afraid. I didn't know who was going to win that fight. Joanne Wood, split decision, Luana Carolina. I had Joanne Wood or fight to go over 2.5 or to go the distance. But anyway, and everything that I said came. Then Jake Hadley versus Malcolm Gordon. I had Hadley to win, and it was also a great call and a great choice by me that I made. I really was right about Jake Hadley winning the fight. And Christian Leroy Duncan Dushko Todorovic was my first bet, and unfortunately Todorovic hurt his knee. I think this is a fight-ending injury. Unfortunately, his knee exploded, so victory for Leroy Duncan. Leroy Murphy versus Gabriel Santos. Murphy won. I had Murphy to win, but I think it was a robbery. I actually think Santos won, and until I'm alive, I will believe it was a robbery. But I told you that's like in picks. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And this time, I believe Santos was brutally robbed. I think he won 2 rounds fair and square, but that's the way it goes. Muhammad Mokaev versus Joel Fido. Muhammad Mokaev won via rear naked choke, which was my second bet, but Fido nearly finished him with a knee bar, then transitioned to a toe hold, and nearly finished Mokaev. But Mokaev is one flexible man. He didn't want to let the Brazilian guy submit him, and it was a great performance by Muhammad Mokaev. Really was a great performance. He somehow survived the storm, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how he survived, but that's all. I don't know. Sam Patterson versus Yanal Ashmuz. I had the fight not going the distance, and Yanal Ashmuz destroyed him pretty much easily, and the fight ended in the first round. Chris Duncan versus Amar Morales. I had the problem Duncan, but one of the judges was obviously high when he gave 3 rounds to Amar Morales in a very close fight. But I believe Duncan won the two of them. Jack Shore choked out Makvan Amirkani. Mr. Finland will not be UFC fighter anymore from now on. I believe he's going to get released. Great performance by Jack Shore, despite he didn't look the greatest, He didn't look the greatest, and I've seen a great performance. So then we had Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. While many believe this was a robbery, I think Roman Dolidze won round 1, while I gave other 2 to Marvin Vettori, and that's how I believe it happened. And I don't think it was a robbery, but though, like 30-27 to Vettori, it was a questionable call. But I told you, Marvin is unfinishable. It's almost impossible to finish Marvin Vettori, and he'll stay at the top of the division for a very long time. And Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. Vettori versus Dolidze was my bet too, and I had Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze over 2.5. Then Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill. Jennifer Maia won. I also said fight to go the distance or over 2.5, and Both of these happened. Like I had my night also. I had Jack Shore in my parlay, and Jack Shore won. Then Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberena. I was very much scared about this fight. I didn't bet on it as I was too scared to pull the trigger on Gunnar Nelson. And actually, it played out. It played out to be nice, you know. And now, when I'm rewatching that fight of Gunnar Nelson, I can tell you that Gunnar Nelson really did an amazing job. He did an amazing call when he came into the mount and finished his opponent via submission. So I can say that it was a really, really nice call by Gunnar Nelson, and Gunnar Nelson really pulled it out. I was expecting a submission victory for Gunnar, but I told you I was not brave enough to bet on him. I was thinking Gunnar by submission, but sometimes you have your own night, sometimes you don't have a revelation, and it seems therefore was my night. It therefore was my night, and that's all I can say. Then the co-main event of the evening. I had the fight not going the distance for Justin Gaethje to win, and I was pretty much confident that Gaethje didn't win after the fight, but judges scored in the favor of Gaethje. It was a majority decision. Then when I rewatched, I said to myself, well, yeah, Gaethje actually won 2 rounds when they gave the majority to Gaethje. But when I rewatched, I've seen that Gaethje won 2 rounds, but I was confident that I lost this one. I thought they were gonna give it to Fiziev. It was a pretty much close fight, but when you rewatch, you see that it was a correct call by the judges. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, I had over 2.5, and it was a great call. It really, really was a great call, and Leon Edwards outworked his opponent, but unfortunately, Leon was cheating with a fence grab, with a nut shot, and it nearly cost him 47-47. That's actually how I scored the fight, but they gave 48-46, and I do agree to some point that Leon won, but unfortunately, he made a big mistake, and it could have cost him a title. Even if it was a draw, I think it would have stayed in London. But it cost him, his mistake, his cheat attempt cost him a lot. And I had my night. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had my night. I have never had 14 out of 15. I had clean sweep, I think, once in my life. Only once. This is my second best result. I had 11 out of 11, but I have never had 14 out of 15. It's like 94%, I believe. My average score is 66 to 68%, so I am very, very, very much above my average score, and this pretty much makes me happy, I'm glad to say. This makes me happy. This is one of the best calls I've ever made. And tonight, I have some very, very entertaining video. You will see how am I calling out, how I'm going to call out every single fan of Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Khamzat Chimaev. I'm not scared of you, and you will see that tonight.